Have you ever traveled through time? We do it every day.
Asgardia is a country with a population of more than 1 million people from more than 200 countries on Earth. Asgardia gives everyone equal opportunities, no matter what their earthly status is.
It is possible to create and live in the future right now. Are you ready? Forward progress is the solution to the entire human race. Our mission is to bridge new horizons. In Asgardia, there is no limit to the universal development in the fields of technology, finance, and arts. Asgardia is a new space and digital economy which creates opportunities for the global economy. We deliver innovations. Do you want to get on board with us? We are developing various kinds of digital businesses, attracting them to the Asgardia platform that can be backed by the means of our umbrella, i.e. franchising of the Asgardia brand. We can not only attract investments into space programs from prominent institutional investors, but also affordable amounts from the citizens of Asgardia. We comprise of more than 1 million people.
Asgardia is a chance to realize one's dream. This is a dream-driven space nation. Asgardia is a chance to belong to a community of free-thinking enthusiasts, goal-driven dreamers, and fearless innovators, theorists, and scientists.
We are the first space nation. One humanity, one unity.
Asgardia.
We are creating
the future.
Dr. Moroso, the article about the hour in the moon is very clever. I like it so much. The standardization of the hour for the space. Very, very important.
Thank you.
José, ¿cómo está tu esposa?
En su tratamiento. Estamos en vivo, supuestamente.
No tengo idea, pero...
Me acaba de decir Linda, acabo de leer.
Ah, ok, entonces dejemos por ahí. We are alive. We need wait, Chairman Lambert.
Greetings. I hope the sound is better today than it was yesterday.
Yes,
Sounds
it's
fantastic.
better.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. Apologies, I made a silly mistake. I went to yesterday's link for yesterday's meeting, so I apologize for that. So let's start in 1 minute. That'll give everyone enough time to come in. There we are. Okay, I think we should make a start. Welcome, everybody. This is Asgardia's parliamentary sitting, one of many. I'll go through the details and all of that in just a moment. As always, though, let's begin, as we always begin, by hearing from our interpreters. The purpose of this is to enable you to follow in Russian, Spanish, Turkish, and English. And so let's begin with our Russian interpreter to tell you how you can follow the proceedings in Russian. Over to you.
Добрый день, меня зовут Кирилл. Спасибо всем, кто присутствует. Напомню немножко о порядке. Это шестое цифровое заседание парламента Асгардии второго созыва. Перевод осуществляется на три языка: русский, испанский и турецкий. Переключать канал вам не требуется. Делать паузы при выступлении тоже специально не нужно. Единственная просьба — говорить чуть медленнее, чтобы переводчики успевали перевести. И довольно громко. Спасибо, приятного вам заседания.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's now hear from our Turkish interpreters.
Thank you, Mr. Opek.
Hi.
Ay, değerli Asgardia parlamenterleri, Asgardia parlamentosunun bugünkü oturumuna hoş geldiniz. Oturumların ilk günündeyiz. Yine sizlere tercümanlarınız Eren ve Alper olarak Türkçe ve İngilizce dillerinde eş zamanlı olarak tercüme konusunda yardımcı olacağız. Türkçe tercümeyi Zoom pencerenizin alt kısmındaki küre ikonuna tıklayarak seçebilirsiniz. Söz aldığınızda tercih ettiğiniz dilde konuşmanız yeterli olacaktır. Sizin tüm söyledikleriniz diğer dillere anında çevrilecektir. Hepinize verimli oturumlar dileriz. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, let's go across to our Spanish interpreters. Greetings. Hope you're well.
Interpretación. Hello, Mr. Lambert.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Very well. How's your family?
Sound is great. My family is awesome. Hola, estimados parlamentarios. Bienvenidos al primer día de esta sexta sesión del Parlamento Digital de Asgardia. Como saben, estamos haciendo las traducciones en turco, ruso y español. Las traducciones se hacen simultáneas. Significa que no tienen que hacer pausa, pero deben hablar despacio para hacer la mejor interpretación posible. Así que si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor, comuníquenlo en los mensajes o déjenle saber al presidente del Parlamento y él nos dejará saber para arreglar el problema si no escuchan o no entienden. Recuerden que deben poner escuchar en español para escuchar esta traducción al español. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, all of you. If you have any problems at all with the interpretation, then please stop. Please raise your hand or speak up. Also, if there are any problems at all with my system, please let me know. I had a few problems with my old headset. I think I fixed them for now. So hopefully, welcome everybody. Let me continue. First of all, an official welcome to the sixth sitting of the second term of Asgardia's Parliament. Yes, we've already had 5, and this is our number 6, which means that we are really achieving a huge amount in terms of our professionalism, our ability to meet as the world's first fully effective digital parliament. That's exciting, and more than anything, I think it shows that we are effective. We are a role model for other nations, and we can prove that we can do professional sittings in a country environment which is genuinely multinational and done in a spirit of professionalism and goodwill. As always, we have 3 days of events. Day 1 today is usually a fairly short introduction, or an overview and an opening of the voting. We'll talk about any administrative questions, and then, as I say, the voting opens as well. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. Then day 2, we will have the main business in terms of legislation. And we have 5 items to discuss legislatively. We also have a contribution from our government, and then we will close. I'll go through the agenda in detail in just a moment. On day 3, we have announcements, and then we have a presentation, and then we move from there through to the reports from the committees. We'll review priority acts, the acts that we think need to come up in the next sitting. I will report the preliminary outcome of the voting, subject to checking by the Counting Commission. Closing remarks, national anthem, and then we close. So that's what we'll be doing. I'll go through the details a little bit more in just a moment. Today's session, I think will be quite short today. I think won't be very long. Tomorrow's session, a little bit longer. And then the final day, of course, is whatever length is necessary in order to complete the business. Let me go into a little bit more detail in terms of the agenda. Well, the quorum vote is opened. We call it a vote on the agenda, but what I ask you to do is vote for or against the agenda. Either way, please vote, because that means that your position will be recorded. And the great news is, if there is more than 50% of the Parliament present, that's 50% plus 1, then all of the votes count. If we do not achieve that, then none of the votes count. So please, at least today, vote for or against the agenda, which I'll go through. Then I was seeking to find a speaker for today, but we're having that speaker on Sunday, Dr. Belakovsky. So after the procedural matters today, we'll finish, and then we start again tomorrow. Tomorrow we start at 1300 UTC. It seems like quite a good time for people. It's not too early for America. It's not too late for the Far East. If we finish early, then it works for most people, but of course, not everyone. Somebody will be up in the middle of the night. And I thank those of you who are doing unsociable hours in order to be part of this. We'll open the second day with some comments and announcements from me. Then we will be covering 5 items. The Asgardia Copyright Act first reading by Ria Dell. The Asgardia Contract Act first reading, again by Ria Dell. The Asgardia Youth and Education Act second reading by Ms. Corna Olivia. It's a fantastic and huge piece of work. I'll come back to that in a minute. The Asgardia Consumer Protection Act third reading by Mr. John Fine. I will say a bit more about that in a minute as well. And then we have the Foreign Affairs Act. Now, this is interesting because this has been a really big piece of work, but we finally got to third reading, and Ms. Ferda Enan will be leading on that. We'll have a financial overview, and we'll have the government hour. Let me go into a few details for this day, and then we will close. The Asgardia, Corna Olivier, who's running the second reading of the Asgardia Youth and Education Act, is busy tomorrow, so we'll need to organise how best to do this. We'll organise that around her time, so I might move when that happens, but we will have that debate. However, it's not going to be on a voting basis. Based on the very good result we got with the Foreign Affairs Act, which then became a matter for the debate, for formal debate, but not formal vote. The last time it was in front of us at the Parliament. So also we will use the same process for this. Why? Because it's very important. We just want to make sure we get it absolutely right. That really, really matters. So by having the full debate, but what I would ask, it's a big document. It's 34 pages. So I think we need to take time to go through that and take that seriously. And I think it might become 2 pieces of legislation, but let's just see where we go with that. Also for John Fine, a great piece of legislation John's had a few drafting improvements. John, I did try to get you last night. Apologies, I saw your message too late in the end. But we can maybe have a quick conversation after we finish today. I'm sure this won't take very long today. And then we'll just talk about those changes. So John, I'd like to do that with you after we finish the formal session today. On day 3, as I mentioned, we start with Dr. Velikovsky's space mission research contribution. That's about a long stay space mission experiment done here on Earth, followed by debate. It's something that Asgardia, Dr. Asher Bailey, our founder, has invested in on our behalf. And it really, really does explore the fascinating issues associated with the isolation, the limited resources, the social pressures, the human elements of a long mission project. You really want to see that. It's a great piece of insight into what happens to humans when they live in a confined space with a small number of people for a very long time. Then all of the chairs will be presenting what has happened in their committees. So thank you for that in advance. And you will all have the space that you need for that. Then the next thing will be the review of the priority acts, the things that matter, which are going to then be in the system for the months and years ahead in terms of making legislation that isn't just fun to have, but we actually need. It's important to me that we don't make legislation just because we can. I think we have to make sure that we make legislation because we need it. I've often felt that politicians make laws because they can. I think we should only make laws when we have to. So let's have that discussion then. Then at some point after 1700 UTC on day 3, when we finish, I shall read the results of the voting. Closing remarks. And as I said, the national anthem, that's our tradition now. And that's what we will be doing. I will just make 4 other comments before I open this for any other commentary. First of all, I will hopefully call John and also Corner in order to have a conversation just about the various matters. And also Sarah Evie Clark, who I know is actually away at the minute, but have a quick chat with her, with the 3 of you after we finish. It'll actually be Corner first. That's a very quick conversation about the legislation tomorrow. Then after that, Corner first. Sorry. Then after that, John, and then Sarah, if you're available. I can see that you're with us, and John, I could see earlier on as well. So I'll call Corner first, and then the 2 of you. Second of 4 things, please do be involved and encourage your colleagues and friends to watch. This is unedited, it's live, and it's all over the world. We are, without doubt, the most professional digital political system ever created by the human race. No one has come anywhere close to what we do, not one organization. So if you like what we do, please get other people to join us as well. That would be really good, and I'm really happy with that. Third of 4 things, I think that we will be able to make news from this as well. Dan Profeer was here in this very studio yesterday to do a talk about Asgardia with me. Very interesting. And there is a big interest, there's a hunger, there's a market for what we do. And I would hope that this market is relevant to people you know, and that they would like to be part of this. So please do think about promoting this through the media. And if you are watching for the first time, feel free to share on social media or in any way you like what you see here. And the 4th and final thing is this. If by the end of day 3, we have achieved our goals, which would be a verdict on 4 voting items of legislation and the quorum, and useful input to the Youth and Education Act, then I would be really happy to say we've made great progress, and that will lead to one more sitting this year, and I expect a physical sitting next year. There's also a possibility of one limited meeting with the chairs of the committees this year, but I cannot confirm that yet. I'll have more information on day 3. That's everything I had today. So let me open it to questions and comments from you. If you have any questions, any comments you'd like to make. Okay, I can't see Corner here, but John, if you're going to be able to talk to me 20 minutes after we finish today, that would be good. And then Sarah, I'll try and give you a quick call as well. I can see you're driving. Very nice hat. And I'll start with John, Corner, which will be a quick call, then John, and then Sarah. John.
Yeah, 20 minutes after is no problem at all. Yesterday, I mean, I had plenty of time after, but
I
you didn't contact me till late.
So yeah,
really late, and then by that time I was already well into things that I do in the evening. So
yeah, I'm sorry. I got stuck with the logistics of this session, and I was doing some follow-up on documentation. So it was very late. It was even later for me, but
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, but I have 2 hours put aside for today, this session, and I think we'll be finished in the next 10-15 minutes. Could be longer. We have up to that 2 hours, but if we are very soon to be finished, then I'm very happy to call you as number 2 after Corner and before Sarah. So thank you, John, for your patience. Okay. I want to go through just the drafting amendments. That's what I want to do with you. That would be the best thing. It won't take very long, but let's just go through that. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else want to raise anything today? Okay. Oh, Ariadne, yes.
Well, only happy birthday to Ross. Yes, right. Today is the date of him. That's all.
Ross Cheesewright, who I believe may be with us tomorrow. Yes, he is Chair of Information and Communications. We all get older. He was so young at the very first parliamentary elections that he was too young to even be a candidate, which seems a pity because he's very active. He's a very active individual, very big supporter of Asgardia. But now he's not too young. He might be celebrating today. I think that might be the thing. I don't know how Ariadne does it, but she's got some lovely things floating up in front of her there. I'll give Ross a quick call as well. Number 4. That's the least important of the 4 in terms of the session, but perhaps the most important socially. So thank you for that. Anybody else? John has joined in the celebrations. It made you look like a goldfish, John. I think those are bubbles.
Those were rockets.
All right. It's my iOS, I see. Maybe I need reading glasses. I'm not sure. I think I had the light on a little bit low on the screen setting a bit low. Does anybody else have anything else we need to cover today? Well, I'm asking that question. I have a question for you. Just in terms of the timings, are you satisfied with the timings? Are these timings all right? We can't change them this time, but the question is, do these timings work for you in terms of the in terms of the way that we're doing today at 1700 and so forth? Let me make it easier. Does anyone have any objection to the timings, which is 1700, maximum 1900 on day 1, but it'll probably be, it's usually now 1700 to about 1740 on day 1, then 1300 to 2100 day 2, but we normally finish earlier, And incidentally, the government hour will be at 1600 UTC tomorrow. So wherever we are in the agenda, we'll stop to do that at 1600. And then on day 3, it's 1500 to 2000 UTC. But once again, we don't have to use all that time. Normally, it's really 1500 to about 1730 or so, or 1800 maybe. So normally we do finish a little bit early. Okay, if nobody has any issues with that, that is how we will do this. Okay, I've got 2 other questions which have come to me. So, okay, I'm going to continue doing it 1700 to 1900 UTC on day 1, 1300 to 2100 day 2, and either 1500 to 2000 on day 3 or 1300 to 1800 on day 3. But I think we'll probably leave it as it is at the moment. Because we start at 1500. If we finish, we have to get to 1700. We need to do 48 hours, and therefore, that way, as long as the session is at least 2 hours, then we can close the voting, and I can announce the results. It would otherwise be a little bit messy because I would not be able to close the voting before we close the session. So, 1500 to 2000 UTC latest on day 3, but I expect it'll be 1500 to about 1730. I would say expect something like that. Excellent, thank you. Does anybody else want to raise anything today, or shall I go to any other business and then we continue tomorrow? Okay. Raise your hand if you want to raise anything today before I finish my any other business. 3 bits of any other business. First of all, remember we start at 1300 UTC tomorrow. And then government hour is 1600 UTC tomorrow. We've got 8 hours, so we should be able to quite easily get through everything that we need to get through. The second thing to say is, the second of my 3 things is to say Peter Morn, Deputy Chair of Parliament, is not very well at the moment. He was quite seriously ill 2 days ago. He is recovering, but he might not be able to spend very much time with us. So I hope that he will get well soon. But as I say, we're all human, and we don't choose when we're ill and when we are not. And the third thing is, once again, after we finish, I'm going to be speaking in this order to corner number 1, then John number 2, if that's okay, then Sarah Clark number 3, and I'll call Ross Cheesewright number 4 as well. So, just one other thing I meant to say, I've been asked about. Dr. Belakovsky is an expert in the long-term immersion project, the solitary confinement, or not solitary, but the confinement project, which tries to recreate the same circumstances as if you were, for example, going to Mars, living in Mars and coming back. That's a long time to be on your own. How does a human being cope and survive in that situation? That's the fascinating thing we will be discussing with him. And I hope that you join us. I think it would be a pity to miss the opportunity. So that's really what the day 3 talk is about, the one I was going to have today, but we'll have it on day 3. And just to explain, the Dan Profeer series, it's actually a series. I think he told me today, series of either 6 or 8 episodes, which don't just cover Asgardia. They cover many other things as well, in terms of space policy, scientific breakthrough, and my particular episode is all about Asgardia. It's just about Asgardia, really. And so that will be a focus on our space nation, but he covers a lot of other things as well. So that's what Dan Profeer has been making. Very professional. He turned up with a full television crew and wonderful equipment and really good questions. So that will be broadcast soon as well. Any other questions? Let me just check. Having a look. Right. Just going to go through the chat quickly. A lot of you are using AI to translate. Very good. Okay, just going through those. Right. Oh, yes. Yes, please do vote. Yes, you can vote for the quorum, vote for the agenda today. What that means is that we have a vote on the agenda. Technically, that's what we did in the first one 7 years ago. And if you vote yes to that, then the agenda stands. If you vote no to it, the agenda does not stand. Then it fails and we can't continue. But the main thing is, and you can abstain as well. The main thing is you vote yes, no, or abstain, because we need 50% plus one of the quorum of the parliament to make all of the votes valid. So you don't have to vote on the legislation yet. We haven't had those conversations yet. But if you can at least vote for, against, or abstain on the quorum that on the agenda, that would be helpful. Obviously, I hope you'll vote yes to the agenda. It's fairly predictable. It's in line with what I believe that we as a collective team in Parliament want to discuss. But please do vote for that, because I always feel a lot better once I know we have actually got the electoral quorum in place. That's what that means. Let me just go through everything else. Let me just check. Nice pictures there, Ariadne. Happy birthday to Ross. Does Ariadne agree? Sarah says earlier is better. That's interesting. Americans who have to get up very early would like it even earlier. I wonder if when we talk, you can tell me if you mean earlier on every day or just one or two of the days. There was some echo. I fixed that. Asgardia Space TV. Yes, I noticed the echo. Right, that's everything. That's all I had for today. Unless anybody has anything else, let's continue this tomorrow at 1300 UTC. And Ariadne's 7 hours at the 0700 is good for Ariadne as well. I guess that's 1300 UTC, so that's good. Maybe we'll keep that day the same. On day 3, I'm just wondering if I should bring it earlier, maybe starting at 1300 UTC in the same way as day 2 begins. In fact, if nobody objects, if no one complains, if no one disagrees, at the next digital sitting, day 1 will start at 1700 UTC. Day 2 will begin at 1300 UTC. Day 3 will begin at 1300 UTC. That's how I'll do it. Excellent. Thank you. Well, let's continue. That was good. It was within the window I expected. So, Corner, John, Sarah, and although Ross doesn't know it yet, a call from to Ross as well. So thank you, everybody. We got 47, so divide by 2, 23. I'll shut down today at 23 and I'll make those calls. So really looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thanks to our interpreters. Have a good evening if you're in the Far East. A good evening if you're in Russia. Actually, and a good evening if you're in Turkey as well. I'm probably the earliest on the clock here, but I'll be up and ready for action tomorrow, 1300 UTC. See you tomorrow. And with that, we can close the recording. Thank you very much.